All right, we are live. It's been a while. All right. Okay, we have three people here already. Good day, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you for joining. All right. I would appreciate if we can drop a test in the comment section for those of us that are here with us. Hi, good evening, Daniel. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you're doing all right. Hello, Erstine. Hello. Thank you so much. I'm so excited and it gives me so much joy seeing you people here. Thank you for joining. I'm trying to like share with my share on my status social media platform. So just okay. One moment. All right. You're good. Hmm, that's cool. Once again, we are all welcome to today's live session. It's been a while, I would say. I think about 2 weeks we've not had a live session, and yes, it's. I'm happy to be here again. And as you guys all know, what we usually do is to bring speakers to come share their experience. Studying abroad, grad school experience, lessons, inspiring stories, motivational stuffs. And here we are again at it today. Thank you all for joining. I think we have good number and we can get started. Hi, Sunday. Thank you for joining. Okay. For those that are joining us for the first time, my name is Alamide Mercy. I'm a graduate student studying in the United States. And this YouTube session is, my YouTube is just mostly about sharing studying abroad opportunities, how to go about your application. We're also bringing speakers to come and share their experience with you, and you can always ask questions. You get to learn from them. As you all know, experience is the best teacher. Hi, Comfort. Thank you for joining. Good evening. Thank you all. So, um, today's session, we have a. Oh, okay. Good evening, Comfort. How are you? Yeah. So today's session we have our speaker. Okay, He's my colleague, my friend, and good thing. I think before I talked about him, many people will be like, "Oh, they are not getting offers. They're not getting offers. It looks like everything is just somehow." But yes, somebody got about like 5 offers, applied to 7 schools, and got 5 offers. It's not like he has to it, right? But sometimes we can say luck and grace, but the hard work is there. So he's here today to come and share his experience, how he did it, some stuff that worked out, and you guys can always ask questions. So stay tuned. Okay. So our speaker for today is a scholar, is our fellow brother from Ghana. But before let me allow him introduce himself, okay? So you guys should stay tuned. There'll be room for question and answer, okay? So thank you, Sir Kofi, for joining us today. We really appreciate you. I'm excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate everyone who has joined this live. My name is Edmund Ampofo. So like me said, I'm from Ghana. Uh, I've been in the US for about 2 years now. I have a bachelor's in statistics from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Ghana. And I also have a master's here in the US from University of Idaho, also in statistics. And I also have an academic certificate in data science. Currently, I'm pursuing my PhD studies in Arizona State University. I'm also a presidential graduate assistant. So I think that is it for me when it comes to education. I enjoy, I'm interested in machine learning, spatial statistics, temporal analysis. Basically, like anything that has to do with statistics, the teaching and the learning of statistics, I'm also interested in that. I like to skate a little bit. I like to paddleboard, hiking, all the good stuff. So that's a
Oh,
little bit about me.
thank you. That was a great introduction. Thank you. Do we have any like Ghanaians joining us? Well. Thank you so much once again. It's my I have so much delight having you join us. I
Yep.
reached out and you're like, oh yeah, sure, you're down. Thank you so much. Even though you already promised me right from last year. So that's cool. It's good to have you here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was curious, like 5 PhD fully funded offers, and we've been through the same part, we've also gone through the same stage and we know how it is like. But I
Yeah.
want to like share your experience today. I would be asking questions, and
Hmm.
during the course of the session, if our viewers, if they have questions, probably that I did not ask, they can always like drop their questions. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. And my first question is, how did you even come about you applied to 7 schools, right? About 7 schools. And
So technically I applied to 6 schools. So I was initially supposed to apply to 7 schools. So
okay.
I prepared application for seven, but I put in application for just 6 schools.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Mhm.
So that's very cool. So how did you like get that schools? How did you select those schools? How did you come about the school? Let's start with that first.
All right, good. So personally, so I already had like experience with how to, go about like picking schools because I already, have a master's. I already been to the US. Usually what I do is to first of all the one thing that I was taught this. So a senior introduced me to that, and I also learned it, and I perfected it. So basically, what I do is before I get like a school, I get interested in a certain school. I go to Google. I just search maybe 50 states in the United States or the state in the United States, which is gonna come out to be 50. Then I pick the states that I'm interested in. So I pick the states that I'm interested in, then basically I just look at the universities in that particular state. I look at the universities that is looking like that is offering my program of study, that is statistics. Then I go to US News and then I ask US News around these universities based on how good their statistics program is. Because I want to be a professor. I also want to be a statistical consultant. So basically, I want to end up in a university that has a good reputation when it comes to statistics. So that when I'm done with school and I'm out there, I'll have a good chance of getting employed. So I look at the rank and then look at the schools and then go into each of the schools that appeal to me. So basically, most of the time, maybe I might look at the first 40, first 30, depending on like where you feel like your strength is. You look at maybe the first 30, the first 40, and then I just go into the school. I have a booklet. I usually have like a small notebook that I use. I go in there. I look at each of the schools. I go to the department website. I look at the professors over there. I look at the graduate student over there. I look at the type of the pattern of student that they go with. I look at what their professors are interested in, and then I look at what the department itself is interested in, the values of the department, if it aligns with my values, and basically just that. And sometimes I just look at people in the department that I feel like, or if I end up in this particular department, am I gonna feel at home? Because it also helps a lot. Because when you end up in a place where you find yourself like different, like too different, it's kind of like it might not be the best place. So usually I also look at the places where I feel like I can be like a best fit over there. So that is basically what I did. So I put down like 20 to 30 schools. Then I then go back again and then I cross them out. Okay, I don't want this anymore. I don't like this school. I don't like this school. Maybe there's this particular thing I don't like. There is this thing I don't like about the school. And then I just take them off. Now, before I leave it back to Olamide for further questions. One thing that I didn't do that I'll advise you also not to do is to look at the whole, acceptance rate thing. Okay, that acceptance rate thing, you shouldn't be looking at it if you are looking at applying for PhD or master's programs, especially PhD programs. So that is one mistake that people do. So they go to the university, they search the Google or whatever for the university,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
see acceptance rate 90, they'll be like, oh, this is easy to get in. So they just apply.
Mhm.
That is a mistake that people do that don't do that. Now, every university, acceptance rate for every university for PhD is really, really low. Okay. For instance, one school that I got into with full funding that we're probably gonna talk about more is University of Cincinnati. And when I got into the school with the PhD and with the full funding, I was a little bit hesitant about attending it. And then the professor sent me an email. He was like, "You should come because the acceptance rate for this year was 13%. And so, like, we really picked people that we really want to be here." So, this is for Cincinnati. Colorado State University, also another university that I got in, was 3.0% for PhD. Even though on their website, if you look at that substance rate, it's like probably like 80% or something. But like for PhD, it's like 3%. So, don't look at that as a way to apply to the school. Just make sure you are putting in your best when you're applying for a PhD program. Don't look at the school at all. You can apply to Ivy League schools because it doesn't matter. Most universities are always going to have small, very very low, acceptance rate for PhD anyway. So probably they are all going to have like 3%. So there's no need for you to be looking at that when you are applying. Because the reason why I'm saying this is that sometimes people look at that and they'll be like, "Oh, this is 90, so I can put in a weak application for this school because it's 90." Then they're gonna end up being rejected. They'll be like, "Okay, why is this school rejecting me?" But yeah. So always look at that. And for PhD, you are always in competition with with students in their program who is maybe their master students who is also applying for that PhD program, and you're also in competition with other Ivy League schools. For instance, in the Arizona State University where I find myself right now, I have
Mhm.
students who are from University of California, Irvine in my class. I have students from Berkeley. I have students from Rice University that also apply for the same
Wow.
PhD program.
Wow.
So don't be thinking that you're gonna go if you're applying for like a school that has like maybe 90% acceptance rate for a PhD program. Don't think you're gonna end up having like weak applications. So be really, really take your time when you are putting in applications for PhD programs because there is no high acceptance rate for that.
Thank you. That's a great insight that you just shared. And I think it's a good one for people to take note of. The fact that you see 90% is not for the whole like program. It's probably for
Yeah,
maybe the graduate program.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
acceptance
I
rate
think
is
they
only
can
for undergraduates.
like go deeper by checking
Mhm.
like for graduate
Yeah.
programs. Yes.
Yeah. You can also add a graduate coordinator. They always have their number or their contact over there. You can ask them, what is the acceptance rate for your program? They're going to tell you.
Hmm.
It's not
Yeah.
a secret.
That's great. Yeah, I'm actually like always like you know when we discuss, I'm always like you get grace or you get oil or because all those top schools you mentioned and you're able to get. We would talk more on some stuffs, but what you said earlier now brings me to my next question, which is
Yeah.
did you like send cold emails or reach out to professor graduate coordinator before applying to these schools? You know.
Okay. So in my life, I've sent just one cold email. And this was
Hey,
one,
I think
and
it's
this
also because of your field, you know.
yeah, and this was when I was back in Ghana. So back in Ghana, I sent a code email to a professor in Canada, because there was a university in, I think it was York University, and I had my half sibling who living over there. So I was like, oh, like I want to go there because like I have a family over there. I sent the email to the professor, and the professor was like, oh, he likes my stuff, but he has an African student already, so he's not allowed to have another African student. She's gonna recommend me to understand. It was like just a whole lot of process. So I was like, emailing professors is not for me. So no, I didn't email any professor. I just went ahead and then applied. But then, as I'm saying, you should always look at the university website. Look at the university website. Look at the department website, look at the professor's website if they have websites too as well. Always do that. This is something that I found like people find it very difficult to do. They just go to the university website and just apply. They don't put in a lot of research into that, because then you might find out that maybe the department they are more interested in research than teaching. So then they have like most of the professors out over there have funding. Then you might be more geared towards writing code emails, because these professors have funding and they have money to fund research students. But if you look at the department, and the department is more interested in teaching, and then you are seeing that most of the professors are saying, I'm teaching this, I'm teaching that, and they are not talking about they have grants for any research, then there's no need for you to be sending emails, because they don't have grants for research. So there's no need for you to do that. So always take your time, spend like maybe a day, look at 5 schools.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate
Mhm.
that. So now let's talk about money, because before you can apply, you need application fee, right? So
Yeah.
how many of these schools did you pay application fee to? How did you get fee waivers? Give us the gist about that.
Okay, so with regards to the schools, I think so for 6 of the schools I paid. No, for 5 of the schools I paid. So
Wow.
one school
Really?
which is, yeah, yeah. So 5 schools I paid for it out of pocket. The two most expensive ones was UT Dallas and Arizona State University. Those are like 100 plus. The rest were like 70, like 60. So those ones were like cool. Colorado State University, I did not pay anything, because they had like a deadline that after that particular deadline, if you apply, you're gonna pay. But before that deadline is free. But one thing that you should know is like the Colorado application is a lot. It involves a lot compared to the other schools. It has You're gonna have a statement of purpose, and you're also gonna have another thing. I don't remember that thing, but it's more of like your life story, something like that. So you have a life story, you can have statement of purpose. So just know that that one involves a lot.
Okay. Cool. Thank you for sharing that. So now people have to like pay. But why did you still try application fee waivers? We don't know waivers. Like I feel like
Yeah,
you could have tried waivers. Why do you? Yeah.
yeah. So there is waivers and all that, but personally, I most of the time, like I feel like if I go to a university website and then I see that they have like so I feel like it depends on like where you are financially. Okay, so back in Ghana, I applied to 2 schools. The reason why I applied to 2 schools for my masters was that I didn't have money. So I applied to 2 schools. One of the schools was University of Idaho, which I paid for. Um, Northern Arizona University, which I also got accepted with funding. I didn't pay that one. That one was free. Okay, so it means I paid for just one school. Now for the US, when I was here, like when I was applying to these schools, I felt like the time that I would have invested to get the waiver would be more than the amount of money that I'm paying, because I believe that time is money, and I believe that that I personally I feel like that time that I would have spent for the waiver was the same as the amount of money that I was paying for it, so I didn't really care for it. But I feel like if you don't have the money, it's always good for you to reach out and check. But the thing is, you should also always read the university website. So universities are going to tell you there is absolutely no
No
waiver.
waiver.
So if they tell you that, then you don't bother yourself, because I think Texas, UT Dallas, they do that. You can have a waiver, but you have to be part of some certain groups to get that. So they most of the time they have waivers, but it's usually limited to some specific group of people. Not everyone can get a waiver. Some universities don't have it at all. So that
Okay.
one you don't even bother for it. But I think there should be third parties that you can contact for waivers that I think Olamide will help you with that. I don't know much about that.
Oh yeah. I just want to like chip in something before we
Yeah.
move forward. So to everybody watching us, like and you are prospective graduate students, as we all know, we are now in application season. Okay. We might not have been having frequent live sessions, but I want you to know that this is the time for you to shoot your applications. This by this time now, you should have gotten the list of schools you're going to apply to, gotten the ones you'll be paying application fee, the ones you will not be paying, statement of purpose, academic CV, and all those things. So please take note of that. It doesn't just happen like it's not like you just wake up one day and you find yourself getting admission offer. This is application process. So take advantage of this period and shoot your shot. Okay. So thank you, Sir Kofi. Thank you so much. Moving on to the next question that I have here. In terms of you, just think about it generally. Like, I want
Yeah.
to still break things down. What
Hmm.
would you say made you got those offers? Because I feel like you yourself, like there are people like maybe the same qualification you had,
Yeah.
they did not get it. So
Okay.
what made you like just before we go into details, like what would you say? This is what I did right that made
Hmm.
me got this offers.
Okay. So personally, I'll first say is grace, the grace of God. That is the first one.
Okay.
Secondly, I would say I am an overthinker. So I try. I'm also like kind of like a perfectionist. I always want to see like, okay, this is like good. So I put in like a lot of work
Hmm.
for studies,
Studies?
personally for studies, and also a lot of work for building my CV, and then also a lot of work for the application. So the thing is, you could have like a really good application, you could have all these things, good stuff going on for you, but if you don't have like how do I even put it? If you don't have the um you don't have what it takes to put them together
Mm-hmm.
to present to someone, they're not gonna know who you are and what you're about. So you could have like all this good stuff going on for you, but you should know how to present it. Now, I take it that most of you who are on this life already, who are on the life, probably already graduated. You already have your degree, so there's nothing you can do to better your grades. But that is something that I feel like helped me a lot when I'm applying. So I had really, really good grades for my undergraduate studies. So I feel like applying to schools, I wasn't like, because sometimes I feel like when you have really, really good grades and you are applying to schools, you have the confidence and you're able to communicate that particular confidence, and then your application doesn't come out at being desperate when they they read it, because then it's like, oh, they want you to come to the school. It's not like you're trying to like beg them that you want to go to the school, because you know who you are, and then what you bring to the table.
Hey,
So
okay. Well, it's not about grades, though. There's something
mhm.
like probably that you might have done. So we'll continue. It's not only
Yeah, so that is that. Now another thing, so the grades is one. Another
one.
thing I also want to talk about is do not be submitting, putting time and effort in your CV and in your statement of purpose. Now, one thing that here, so as I said earlier, here in our ASU, I am a PGA. So most of the time, they tell us a lot about these things, applications, and all that. Sometimes
Tell us the
people
meaning
what
of feed. I know it.
so PGA is Presidential Graduate Assistant. So
Wait,
it's kind of
wait, wait,
like,
wait, 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 wait,
yeah.
wait. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, in case people did not know, there's another type of funding that they call that kind of funding. Oh. So it's not the usual teaching assistantship or research
Yeah.
assistant.
So
So
the PGA is really, so I can go a little bit into the PGA if you want me to talk about it.
yeah, we'll
So
come to that later. Let's start.
yeah. So back to what I was talking about. So you put in done. So sometimes I think last week we had a section where we had people who review applications, come to talk to us. One thing that they were talking most about was that people narrate their CV on their statement of purpose,
Mm,
which you shouldn't be doing. Like, they already have seen your CV. Don't be telling them, don't be like kind of like narrating your CV. Oh, I did this, I did that, which is already in your CV. Your CV should be a story that presents you as a human, that presents you as, an asset to the department, not just I did this, I did that, I have this, I have that. And then one thing that I also realized that, because sometimes I have some of my students back, because back in Ghana I was a TA, so I have some of my students send me their applications just to read through for them. One thing that I realized that people do, which is also not so good, is that they submit generic applications. Okay, I cannot stress this enough. Put in time, put in effort researching the department. Okay, put in time researching the department. Every department in the USA, every university in the USA have their values. They have a mission. So you cannot submit the application for University A for University B. It's not gonna work. Put in time, always research, look at the professors, at least specify two names of professors that you want to work with, that you feel like their research align with yours. If you have like a research that you have personally done, talk about that particular research, talk about why you did that research, and talk about the way forward, and talk about how that university and that department can help you do this particular thing that you want to do that is not in other universities. Because it's like, okay, you want to come to this university, why don't you go to another university? Like, what do we have that this university don't have
mhm,
that
yeah,
you want to come here? So you talk about all of this. Like, yes, most you cannot be creating like 10 statement of purpose for 10 universities. And that's why I always advise people who talk to me that don't apply to 20 universities. Okay, like, because if you're applying to that much of schools, that number of schools, you are definitely not putting in a lot of effort. At least for me, maybe 6, 7, 10 maximum, so that you can put in a lot of time. Like, if you apply to 20 universities, like, I don't know how you can have time to do your research and all that. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, you're going to go to just one of them. Okay, so just pick the university that you really, really want to go and put in the effort, and you are going to get into that university. So put in the effort. Don't submit generic applications. Make sure you put in the values that you have and how they align with that university values. What you want to do in the future, how that university is going to contribute to that particular thing that you want to do in the future, and then always talk about the department. Talk more about the department than the university. At the end of the day, is the department that is going to recommend the university to get into the university. So that this is how it works for graduates. I don't know if any of you have already applied to graduate school, but for graduate school, is the department that accepts you first before the university. It's different. If it's undergraduate, the university accepts you straight. But if it is graduate school, the department will have to recommend the university to accept you. So if you just write about the university and don't talk about the department, it's going to hurt your application, because the department is going to review application first, and then the university is now going to say that, oh, okay, the department says you were a good fit, so we are giving you an opportunity to come here to study with us. So please put in an effort to research the department. Another thing that I also want to mention is that you always have to have like a goal.
mhm.
Like, you always have to have like a goal. Okay, like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do, and this is how I want to do it, and this is how the university is going to help me do it, and this is what I feel that other universities cannot give me, and this is what I feel like this university or this department can give me that I cannot get anywhere.
That's
Yes. Mhm.
thank you for sharing that. I want to believe our viewers are learning. So the grades you said actually gave you leverage.
Yes.
Your statement
Yes.
of purpose, emphasis on those two and CVs,
Yeah.
purpose and CV. Then I would the last one you mentioned. But what about like um in terms of, do you think recommendations really count?
Recommendations really, really play a very important part.
Okay.
So, recommendation plays a really, really important part, and I don't know um, where you are applying from. If you're already in the US, I would recommend that you get most of your professors here in the US to put in a recommendation for you. So personally, I took classes from professors that I really like, that I took time. Be an active, learner in the class and participate in classes. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
when you participate in classes, you're gonna like catch the attention of these professors, and then when you ask them for recommendation, they can put in a really good recommendation for you. I don't know how recommendation back in Africa. I think the recommendation for professors is a little bit different. But here in the US, the recommendation, a professor will tell you, no, I cannot give you a recommendation because I don't know you that well. Okay. So if you are looking for recommendation from US professors, you have to put in the effort to take your time and participate in their classes. For instance, I got recommendation from my department chair. I got recommendation from my advisor. So I did a thesis. So I got a recommendation from my advisor. I also got a recommendation from a professor that just liked me. He wanted me to do a PhD with him, but I was like, I just want to go to another university. So he liked me. So he was like, oh, I'm gonna do a recommendation for you. So it's just that, and always give these professors lots and lots of time to write a recommendation for you. Don't just reach out to your professor like the deadline. Be like, oh, I really need this recommendation, please. They're probably going to put in a generic recommendation for you, and it's going to hurt your application. Or they probably would say something that the university might not like, that you don't, because at the end of the day, you don't even know what this professor is writing about you, though.
Yeah.
So just always give them enough time. Now, giving them enough time does not mean that they're going to submit it on time.
Yeah.
Okay, but then you give them enough time. Sometimes I realize that I give my professors and lot of time. So this is what I did. I'm going to give you guys a breakdown what I did. What I did is that I emailed all these professors who I told them in person that I wanted them to write recommendation for me, or who told me personally that they want to write recommendation for me. And then I sent each of them an email, and I listed the list of schools that I wanted to apply to, and then I added the deadlines for each of the schools. So
Yeah.
then I tell them, oh, this is school that I want to apply to. This is the deadline, so that they know when to put in the recommendation. So I put in that for all of them. So some of them, so for instance, I put in 9 schools. I sent 9 schools to these professors. And then after I applied to 6 of them, I was not going to apply again. Some of them were reaching out to me. They were like, the deadline is approaching. Are you applying to this school or not? And I had to tell them, oh, no, I'm not applying anymore. Because now you already told them, now they are also interested in it. So just do that. Give them a lot of time to prepare for the application. Send them the schools. And then sometimes some professors will request you to give them your CV and then your statement of purpose. If they ask you to do that, give it to them, because then that one will help them, so especially when the professor doesn't know a lot about you. Especially if you're applying from the US, most professors don't really know a lot about you because you might just have taken one class from them. So sometimes you can also request to give it to them. Oh, I want to share my CV with you, so that will help you to write a recommendation for me. So recommendation really, really play important role, especially if you are using like professors who are like really have like good reputation.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you for sharing
Mm.
that. That's insightful. Yes, we're coming back. So our viewers, I hope we are getting something. I would want you to drop your questions. I don't know, like I feel like this set of applicants, they're kind of a bit like people are kind of reluctant about applying. I don't know.
Mm.
I just like yes, I just like because last year like this period, people were always like, oh, what can I like, but this time people are reluctant. So I want you guys to ask questions. What like anything you're not sure about, anything probably you want to know about how he got his PhD. So drop your questions in the comment section. I would be looking at that. Then thank you so much, Scholar Kofi. continue with our my own question on my list. I'm going to ask, like, during your application season, were there times you faced challenges, like, and how did you like overcome them? Probably that would give somebody an inspiration or a motivation to keep going. Like challenges you faced when you were trying to apply and probably how you passed through.
Okay. So with challenges, I think Olamide, you know some of them. So the thing is, uh, one of the challenges that sometimes you face is if you are like an overthinker like me, um, it's hard, especially if you don't really get like anyone to read through your application. Personally, I got Olamide to read through my application for me. Always get someone to proofread your application, like get a second person to read through. Now, I was around that time that I was applying to these schools. I was also writing my thesis, which was really, really stressing me. So I wasn't really in good spirit at all, and so I was having, a lot of challenges, like having the motivation to just sit and write. But then, you should get the motivation because at the end of the day, like especially we that we are coming from Africa, we have our families to looking up to us. So even if you don't have the motivation, you have to have it, and get do what it has to be done. What has to be done has to be done. So that was something that I was dealing with because I was not feeling it at all. I
What made
just
you feel it? Because I feel like people are not feeling it. So what gave you
yeah.
that ginger, that
So
motivation?
I wasn't feeling it at all, but what gave me the ginger was, just you
Hmm,
should always remember where you're coming from, okay?
okay.
And look at what you're trying to achieve.
Right.
So
Yeah.
where you're coming from and then what you're trying to achieve, and then you find out that okay, well, like at the end of the day, like if I just sit down and keep complaining and just don't do anything, like am I going to be better off? That's what you should think of. Like, are you going to be better off by just not doing anything?
Good
Well, obviously you're not going to be better off, but
one.
then you know that okay, even if I put in an effort and I don't get the school, at least I did something. So that is something that I it helped me a lot because I was like, okay, I need to do this because I have family to take care of. I have my future. I know what I want to do,
Married
so I
one.
have to I have to go out there and look at it. Sometimes I just call people and talk to. I used to call Lamide and just talk to her and just rant to her about like my professor and like my research and all that. And sometimes just get people they just tell you to be okay, it'll be okay. I had to graduate in the summer because my research took longer than I expected. It got to a point that I didn't even want to do the research at all. I was like, I'm tired and all that. So it was really like that. Another thing that so the motivation was a problem, like it was really really big problem. That was like the major factor. Another thing that usually could also be a problem is the process of applying to school. Sometimes you just start the process and it's like, oh my god, like this is a lot. You're gonna have to do this, submit this, put in this, do that, do this, and then don't look at that, just start doing it. Okay,
Hmm.
when you start doing it, you're going to realize it's easy. That is something that I realized that a lot of people face. That when I talk to people, I be like, just apply to the school. They start the process, and then at some point they stop because then they feel like, oh, it's too much. Don't forget about that. Just focus on like where you're trying to go, and just start it. Just start it, and just keep doing it. Do it bit by bit, and that's why I always say that just allow yourself a lot of time. Okay, I have this thing in my head that I'm trying to be a perfectionist. So I always would, for instance, if I have an assignment that I'm supposed to submit, I always submit it on the deadline.
Mhm.
I submit most of my applications 2 days before deadline. Because then I always like, and the thing is, I start my application like maybe 3 months, but every single day I go back, I look at it. Every day you look at it, you're going to see something wrong with it. They're going to change something. So always allow yourself that time, because that is what helped me a lot. Because then, you are a human being. You are not always going to be happy all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, and
You can be happy all the time.
yeah,
Oh.
and that, I mean, Olamide is sometimes always happy all the time. I always been asking her what did she has she been doing, but I feel like having a good mental health is admitting that you cannot be happy all the time, and it's okay. Okay, so that is why you have to let yourself have ample time to do your application because someday you might be off, it will not work. Someday you might be on, then you can write, you can be motivated to write. But if you just leave yourself like just a little amount of time and then you are depressed within that time, you're going to put in a really bad application. So leave yourself a lot of time so that you're going to have on days, off days, on days, off days, and then you're always going to look at the application and you're going to see something wrong with it, you're going to fix it. So that is also something. So do not let the process discourage you. Find your motivation. So that is some problems that I was dealing with. The process, the motivation. Another thing, problem that you also will be dealing with is the recommendation. Okay, that is also another problem that you might be dealing with. Sometimes you want the application submitted. Sometimes some professors are not trying to do that. You send them an email, they're not going to respond. Some professors were going to say, "Oh, I cannot see the link," and it's almost deadline. It's just frustrating sometimes. And then another thing that, depending on where you're coming from, another challenge is the application fee. Personally, I was broke around that time, so I used my credit card to do most of the application fees, and I paid them. Now, if you're coming from Africa, I don't think you have anything like credit card, so that is also something that is also another challenge that I had to deal with. So the credit card thing, and then all of that. So those are like challenges, but as I'm saying, never let any challenge
Yeah.
prevent you from putting in your application. Another challenge that I think people might be dealing with right now that they might be scared of is the fact that there is this whole visa issues, visa problems, and application problems. Don't look at that.
Don't look at.
People are still coming in. People are still coming in. Even last year that this whole thing was even at its highest point, I had so many people coming the US. Coming into the US with school is usually probably the easiest that you can come into the US right now. Okay, so put in your application. If you qualify, the university is not gonna say that there is an issue with you are gonna come here. Okay, don't let that disturb you at all. Don't focus on that. Put in your application, put in your best, and you're gonna get into the school that you want to go.
Thank you so much. That was great. Thank you for
Mhm.
answering that. So you guys can see that everybody face challenges one way or the other. This application process, it can be overwhelming, just like he said, to add to what he has said. Okay, it can be overwhelming. I intentionally put that question out because I realized that people are trying to be like, oh, this thing is tired. Some people will even start, they will give up along the line. Some people will be like, oh, it's look ahead and just be like, oh, at the end of the day, this thing is gonna make sense. People are looking up to you. You have family to take care of, you have your life, your future, you'll be glad you did it. If you actually put in your best and you get the admission, the offer and everything, you'll be glad you did it. So
Yeah,
look ahead, put in the efforts. You would definitely face challenges, but pick yourself up and days where you're like energized and put in your application, submit it, go through it over and over and over. You get it. So thank you for answering that question. And to our viewers, I hope we are getting something one way or the other. I can see that we have questions. We are coming to pick those questions very soon. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad this is coming at the right time because I feel like the spirit is kind of down. Like it's just like sincerely last.
yeah. I feel like a lot of people are just scared about like the whole
No,
issue,
like
but don't. That is not. It's not
once you get
you.
your offer,
Yeah,
so you go for an interview and
yeah.
that's it.
You are not the target. Okay, you are not the target. It's just people who like we are here. If you are coming to the US with school, you are going to be here legally. You're going to be paying taxes. You're going to be a taxpayer. Okay, so you are not the target. You are not a problem at all. So just put in your application, put in your best, and you're going to get into the school that you want to go to.
Thank you for sharing that. It's really, I hope that helps someone. Okay. And yes, before we continue, if you are joining us for the first time, please subscribe. We have a lot of upcoming sessions. So subscribe and share this with your viewers to your on your social media. Let people join. Let them know that we are live so they can also benefit. Let's continue with our question. Okay, we already talked about the challenges you faced and how you overcame them. And I want to just you talk about the issue of English proficiency test.
Okay.
Yeah, so did you write TOEFL or IELTS?
Okay. So
Or
I
like
don't
how did
know.
you make that requirement?
Okay. So I don't know where the countries of these, put in your country if you are here, put in
Oh,
your
yeah.
country if
So,
you get
like,
in.
let us know
Yeah,
where our viewers
yeah,
are from.
yeah.
You're
So I don't know where
in the
you are
United
applying from.
States, we're in Africa. I said,
Yeah, I don't know
we're
where you are
in Nigeria.
applying from.
Yeah,
Yeah, but most, if you are applying from an English speaking country, if English is your, your official language, most universities are going to waive that for you. Now, sometimes too, some universities don't have that over there. You can write to them and then ask them, okay, I'm from an English speaking country. What is it? What can I do? They're probably going to ask you to submit something that shows you are from an English speaking country. Some universities are going to ask you to provide an English proficiency, something signed by your school that they teach you in English. Some universities are going to say, okay, you are from, an English speaking country, we waive it. Now, most of them are going to have that on the application portal. If you want to see that, you have to go check the international student application. You're going to see those information over there about, like, yeah. So that is really, really important. Just don't just put in application blindly, because you can be rejected based on that.
yeah,
Because then, if you don't look at whether they do the just put in the application, they can reject you based on that. And sometimes too, that is also something that I feel like people get discouraged a lot. They're putting in the application, and then they get hit back with, oh, English proficiency. And then they were like, oh my God, I'm not going to do it anymore. Just write to the university, ask them what you can do. Most universities are gonna be, if you are from an English speaking country, it's gonna be waived. If not, they're just gonna be like, okay, write an IELTS or a TOEFL. I didn't write any of them, but because I'm from Ghana, which is, our official language is English, so I didn't have to write any of them to apply. But know that for some universities, when you come here, they are going to test you on your English again. Even if you wrote IELTS, TOEFL, or whatever, they're going to test you again before they are going to give you teaching duties. I mean, they are going to give you the teaching duties anyways,
for
but
you.
for you to retain them for the years to come, you have to pass that English standard they have for the particular university. University of Idaho, they didn't have that. So for University of Idaho, I could just go straight to class to teach, and I could work in the office hours to teach without having to write that. Here in Arizona State University, you have to take an English proficiency test again, which is being offered by the university. And if you don't pass that, you're going to take a class, which you're going to also take the test again after that class. So just know that some universities also have that, so that you don't get frustrated.
Thank you for mentioning that. Like, I just wanted you to answer that because a lot of questions, like a lot of questions I get most times is like, TOEFL, English proficiency. I don't have IELTS. I don't have TOEFL. You are from an English speaking country, so take notes. Sometimes you don't need to write any exam. All you need is just to like let them know you're from an English speaking country. Your
Yeah.
studies was being taught in English. Okay, and yeah, thank you so much. So
Always, whenever you have a question, don't sit down and stress yourself about the question. Always email the program coordinator for that program that you want to apply to. Email the person. If they don't know the answer, they are going to refer you to someone who knows the answer. That's going to make your life super, super, super easy. Okay, don't be stressing over things. If you have any question, there's no stupid question, because at the end of the day, like, you are paying for this application. Always email the program coordinator, this and that and that. This is my question. What do you think? I have had people don't even, you can ask the program coordinator to schedule a Zoom meeting with you. They are going to do it.
yeah.
Okay? They are going to schedule a Zoom meeting with you. You're going to sit down and ask them questions after questions. So put in the effort, and you're gonna get into the school that you want.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Star Kofi. We appreciate that. That was a good one. So let us pick some questions from our viewers. And
Yeah.
also, if you guys have questions, drop your question. The main purpose of this is for you to learn, get clarity on any confusion you have whatsoever about applying for grad programs in the US. Okay, so the first question is someone said I must have a publication. Did you have a publication before your PhD admission, first of all?
So that's a really, really good question.
Good.
No, I didn't have no publication. So I'm gonna mention the universities as well. I applied to six universities. So I
Yeah,
applied
give
to
us the list. Maybe people can go
so
check.
yeah. So I
Maybe
applied
refer
to
to
yeah. So I applied to UT Dallas.
you to
I
that.
applied to Washington State University. I
Okay.
applied to Colorado State University. I applied to Arizona State
You're too
University.
fast. You're too fast. Washington State University. Okay, the next one.
Yeah. So okay. So should I start? Which ones did you
That's
get?
Washington State University.
Okay. So UT Dallas, Washington State University, University of Cincinnati,
Mm,
um, Colorado State University,
yes.
um, University of Kentucky, and then there is one more. Was it five schools?
It's fine. I think that one too.
Okay, I don't know whether I've mentioned all of them, but I think it was six schools.
You apply.
Okay,
There's this school in there's this school that gives you admission. I think the first one in the east side.
have I talked about Colorado, Arizona? So Colorado, Arizona, Washington State,
Like
Kentucky, Cincinnati,
Kentucky, yeah,
Texas,
Kentucky.
and
You just
Washington. Yeah, Kentucky. All right. So basically, I had zero. I had zero publications. I applied to these six schools. I got into all the six schools. I got funding for four of them: Colorado, Colorado, Arizona. So I got for Colorado, Arizona. I got for Cincinnati, and I got for Kentucky. I was on the wait list for Washington, and I was also on the wait list for UT Dallas for funding, but I got into all of them. But I was on the wait list for funding for two of them. I didn't have publications. Okay, it's just teaching experience that I had. So no publication at all. I just put in my application. I did have an undergraduate thesis, but I didn't have publications at all.
thank you. So
Mhm.
I think I would answer to that question. I think the field actually matters too. So it's not a must for you to have a publication. Okay, you're coming in as a PhD student. You don't need to say, oh, you have to have a publication. Okay, it's not like this thing. It's a plus for some people, like, but mostly I think it's not like a must. Okay, I don't know if you answered your question, Toby. So
Yeah. So a little bit I want to add up to it is that always check the university website. For instance, University of Minnesota, for statistics, they require that you have a publication. Okay.
wow,
So always check the university. And so that is why you have to, these are the reasons why you rule out some universities. So you have about 20 universities. Oh, this requires publication, you are out. This requires GRE, I don't have GRE, you are out. Stuff like that. And always go with the universities that now one thing that about that is that sometimes the university require it, but if you feel like you have a strong application, apply to it, you're going to get it. For instance, the University of Cincinnati, they required GRE. So it was required, it was recommended. They required GRE, was recommended, but I just put in the application. I didn't have GRE, but I got accepted and I got funding in like 2 weeks because they really wanted me to go over there. So if you feel like you have a good application, don't worry about whatever they are asking for. Just put it in, especially if it's not like something like, let's say, language proficiency, or like something about like maybe they have a specific course that you need to take that you haven't taken. And always email the coordinator. They are asking for email the coordinator that, oh, the department asked for publication. I don't have a publication. Can I apply? How are my chances? And then you can go ahead and apply.
thank you. Thank you so
Mhm.
much. Yeah, that's a good one. And I think he has answered it. I don't need to add to that. So someone is asking, were you able to secure professors? I want to believe you joined late because you already talked about this.
Yeah.
You want to answer this?
Yeah, so just a little bit about that. No, I didn't secure any professor. I don't know. So usually it depends on the field that you are in. My field that I'm in, there's a lot of teaching. If you are in the mathematics, if you are in the science field, if you are in the STEM field, there's gonna be a lot of teaching.
Tree biology.
So then, yeah, so if you're in the STEM, there's going to be a lot of teaching and a lot of lab work. So most of the time, you don't need to email any professor because department are going to have these jobs available for people to do already. But if you are in like the social sciences, where it's more of like there's no like TA work over there, you might have to send code emails or stuff like that.
Yeah,
But as I said, always email the program coordinator about that. Ask the program coordinator, do I need to get a professor to get funded?
yeah. Thank you. Thank you for answering that. I want to believe you've answered your question, Eric. If you have further questions, you can ask. Oh, the time is running fast. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, wow. I never knew. I just checked the time. We don't really have so much time, but we can still take more questions. And Dura said, "It's to be honest, it is overwhelming." And the writing says, "Yes, don't give up. It can be frustrating. Don't give up." That's the um the I would say the key word. Don't give up.
Yeah, so with regards to Victoria, yeah, this is a really good thing that you just said. Thank you for saying that. Don't give up. Yes, that's right. Cold emails are always the response rate for cold emails is really really low. Most of the professors over here are busy. I am here in the US. I have professors that I take class with that I see their face every day, but you send them an email and they are not going to respond. Okay, these
Yeah,
are professors that I see every day, but you send them an email, they are not even going to respond. Okay, so it is not because you are in Africa or something. That's why they are not responding. They are probably not even checking the email at all. Okay, they are really really busy people. So don't let that be like, oh, maybe they saw my email, they don't like it, that's why they didn't respond. They probably didn't even see it,
yeah,
because as I said, we are here in the US, but sometimes we send professors email for recommendation or for we want to work with them for research. They don't even respond to us. So that is something that you should know.
yeah. Thank you. So
Mhm.
Boyega, thank you for dropping these. Thank you so much. So, Idora said, I have observed that communications department suddenly get funding. Do you know in university? Okay, I actually like want to just add that I saw one poster today, like one post on LinkedIn. Michigan State University Professor Brooke Wolf. She's accepting students, so you can check that out.
Yeah.
Okay, Idora. So yeah, and they said your LinkedIn profile, so they can connect with you.
Okay, so it's just my LinkedIn is gonna be my name over there. So it's just when you type in my name in LinkedIn, that's it, that will come up. That's my name
Okay,
on
what's
there.
your full name?
It's just Edmund Ampofo. Just putting in the that is gonna
Yeah, I
come
just
over
put
there.
it. So this is
Yeah,
name Edmond Ampofo.
yeah, that
Okay.
is gonna be my
He
name.
has so much expertise about this thing. He's a presidential. I don't know the full meaning. Like, they know a lot about application. They review application. So if you want to get
I
in,
don't review applications, but
like,
I know
that would be
I have been. They tell us a lot about these things, so yeah,
review.
I can answer some questions. Yes,
Yeah. So that is that. So you guys can connect with him. And Joy is asking, can you apply for a direct PhD? Yes. I know.
yes, you can apply for a direct PhD without a master's. Most of the people that I so here in ASU, we have about this year. I think we have about 15 PhD students. Bigger also always look at bigger universities. So bigger universities have more opportunities. So also look at that. And so yeah. So here in ASU, I think we have about 15 PhD students, and I think it was just two of us that had like masters already. So most of them are like undergraduate people coming straight to PhD. So you do not need a master's to apply to a PhD program now.
Oh.
And most of the time, they, for instance, they actually, that's why I'm telling you that if you put in a lot of effort in your undergrad, it helps, because most of the time, a lot of applications they're just gonna look at your undergraduate anyways. So
Mhm.
they don't really require like a master's. Usually, the master's is for if you want to clear some courses, if you want them to exempt you from taking some courses, it helps for you to submit like a master's, but it doesn't really help with the application, in my opinion.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So I wanted to just point out something. Idora, yes, it's Michigan State University. And one thing is, people were like, oh, there's no funding in this field, in this field. One thing you can also do if you're trying to get, I'm answering these questions together. Yeah, Idora actually. So in case you're trying to get idea of schools that fund your program, you can go to LinkedIn, search for the school and your course, and probably put like United States or that country. You would get people in that school in that field. Then you can connect with them and ask them questions about funding. Aside going to the internet, the internet is your strong source, your direct source, but you can also ask people directly on LinkedIn. You get that scope. So make use of make use of LinkedIn, like connects, go to their DMs politely, they would answer. For communication, I think there is a lady, she's really like active on LinkedIn, Amaka is her name, first name. I think Amaka. I don't know the last name. Amaka Peace. You can check that out. And for Shine, you can check out Grace Abby. She's also like she talks about MBA. She has like I think she went to Arizona. Yeah, Arizona or something like that. Like just check it out. I
So, just a little bit to add to that, people who are looking at these specific courses like MBA, maybe Spanish, communication, always look at the big schools. Okay, the big schools, they have lots and lots of opportunities. The small schools, you are usually not going to get funding for these particular things. Look at the big schools like like UT Dallas, Arizona State, like the big schools, like schools that are big. Okay, these schools are always gonna have, because I know a lot of people who are here who are studying Spanish and they are on full PhD funding for Spanish. Okay,
yeah. So
so just look at the big schools; they are gonna have money for that.
thank you for sharing that. You guys, do you have any question for Dr. Kofi? Kofi has he's ready to answer our questions.
I'm not a doctor though.
You're trying to becoming a doctor.
Yeah,
What PhD
God
student?
willing. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. How
I
do you
think
use it?
I have about 4 years, 5 years to go, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, so you guys ask
Yeah.
questions. Oh, I brought Dr. Kofi here to come and answer our question. And let it be about getting admission. Come and ask him. How about for agriculture, like animal science? We'll talk about all these specific schools. If you guys are not on our WhatsApp group, you are missing because we drop a lot of information there every day. A lot of schools posters and all that kind of a thing. There's not a lot going on right now, but we are back fully, like we're gonna be having a lot of live sessions. So any more questions, you can ask your question while I ask my own question. I think the last question I have on my list is just about asking Dr. Kofi to, oh, sorry, two more questions. If you have to start all over, let's say this was last year that you're just applying, what would you have done differently?
Okay, so if I was starting all over, what I would have done differently was that I probably would apply for lots of Ivy League schools.
Really?
I would apply for a lot of Ivy League schools because I found, like, not necessarily like Ivy League schools, but for instance, like most of the schools that I applied to was like maybe top 15, top 20 best in statistics. But I felt like I should have probably gone for like maybe top five, top 10, because I have friends that I went to school with that are in those particular schools. So I feel like I should have believed in myself more, because these are people that I went to the same school with, that I graduated in the top 1% of the class, but these people were probably like maybe the top 10%, but they are in this particular school. So I feel like that is something that I just wanted to, um, I didn't have enough, let's say, confidence when I was doing that. So that is something that if I was to apply again, I would have, I would have done that. But I have no regret at all. As I mentioned, I have no regret at all. I could have gone to any of these other schools that all the other schools that I got into were like, they had like really, really good reputation when it comes to statistics. I ended up in Arizona because they have really high employability rate. And I also have like the PGA, which is presidential graduate assistant. I get reduced duties. I literally work just 2 hours, whilst people are supposed to work for like 20 hours. I work like 2 hours. So, and I get paid the same way. So it's
Even
just like,
higher.
yeah. So it's just like, I have no regret, because if I felt like if I had gone to these most of these Ivy League schools or stuff like that, they usually don't have these special fundings, because they feel like everyone, is this, like, So I do not have any regret. But if there's something that I'm gonna do differently, I think I'm gonna put in those applications to those schools just for my ego, that I feel like, okay, I can get into those schools, but I'm not gonna go anyways. So yeah, that is something that I think I would have done
Yeah.
differently.
Okay. school. Maybe this is a sign to someone watching us to cheat for that those Ivy League schools.
Yeah,
You
shoot
never
for
can.
them. So as I mentioned, always
They
shoot
have
for them because
money
if it
actually,
is PhD application, every school has low acceptance rate. So it doesn't matter which school you're applying to. Just
but
apply.
but they have to also like apply to less competitive school. Me, I'm an advocate for less competitive school.
I don't think there's any
I'm
less
sorry, not
competitive
less
school.
competitive. Like small,
I just told you the people
small.
who got accepted into ASC. I told you.
Yeah, I think
UC
sometimes we
Irving,
limit ourselves.
University of California, those schools, all these Ivy League schools are
I'm
in my
getting
class.
different from you, right?
Yeah, and I'm coming from University of Idaho. So that's why I'm telling you that if you feel like you have a good application, just put it in. Don't worry because you're gonna have the same competition in these other schools anyways.
Yeah, that's a.
So
I think
yeah,
what I'm getting from this, me too, I'm getting something like sometimes we limit ourselves. We'll be like, oh, I don't qualify for this thing. It's too.
yeah, yeah,
Don't limit yourself. Okay.
yeah.
All
If you
right.
can get into a PhD program, you can get into any school. PhDs is really, really hard to get into, especially PhD with funding. So
Okay.
if you can get that, you can get into any school.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much. So let's just quickly run through like few of the questions, and I ask my final question.
Yeah.
Actually, we if we say we should keep asking questions, we will not leave yesterday. So let's just quickly round off. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we have a question. You said, "What do you mean by looking at our undergraduates?" Probably ask your question. I don't really understand this.
Okay, I understand it, so I'm gonna answer it. So yes, so your GPA, yes, so your GPA is really, really important, and not just your GPA, what you did in your undergraduate. Okay, so like I don't know, but some people they just like went to school, they didn't really like do anything. They were not in any activity. They didn't do any teaching. They didn't do any service work. They didn't do like they didn't take up. They were not part of any group. They didn't take up no responsibility, no leadership. Because some programs look at this leadership skills and all that. Like they're not going to tell you this, but they look at this. So and that will tell them, oh, maybe this guy had like he was doing this, doing that, doing that, doing this, doing that. And always when also you are putting in your application and you feel like you don't have a really, really strong GPA, put in the reason or something that you feel like affected your GPA in your SOP. Okay, you are a human being. Oh, maybe I lost my parent, or don't lie. Maybe I lost my parent, or maybe something happened, and that is why my GPA did this and that and that. And then what they're going to do is they're going to look at your performance. A lot of schools do that. That is something that I know. They look at your performance. Most of the time they want to see a trajectory. They want to see like an upward trend, that you were doing good in the lower level, and it gets better and better and better. But then if there is something bad, you need to talk about it in your statement. This is something that you need to talk about in the statement of purpose, and not just narrating your CV. Okay, talk about these things. If you feel like you don't have a good GPA, talk about why, what happened, stuff like that.
Thank you.
But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe you've answered your question. You're right. You already said, "How do you know a big school?"
How do you know a big school? So you just Google it. So usually, right, the big schools are the schools that you probably have heard of their name whilst you're in Nigeria. If those schools you usually hear the name, that is a big school. For instance, Arizona State University is the number one university for international students. So obviously you have heard of it at some point. So it is a big school. Now another way that you know a big school, you can just Google it. Big schools in the US.
Yeah,
You're
and I
gonna know.
ranking, Ivy Leagues. All
Yeah,
those are
yeah.
good.
You're gonna find like big schools in the US. So like yeah, these are big schools. These schools that their names are really common. They are gonna be big schools. What about funding for biochemistry? There's a lot of funding for
Oh, well,
biochemistry.
chemistry. That's what I want to
Biochemistry
say.
is like probably the easiest.
Chemistry, number one.
Yeah, biochemistry is probably the easiest. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of funding for that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Thank you so much. Let's
Mhm.
move on to the next question. George Olaoluwa, if you're in biochemistry, there are a lot of opportunities. Okay. Is November late for those that plan to get scholarship?
No, no, I put in most of my application December. You
Yeah,
just like you just
December.
have
But, the school you apply to. I think the latest school, the earliest schools that I've seen that the application deadline is November 31st.
yeah,
So December 1st. December
yeah,
1st.
Most
So
of them is December 1st. Some
yeah.
is even in March. I think this school that wanted to apply to, I started the application, and then at some point I just stopped. Was New Mexico University. They have, I think, their deadlines in first March. So some universities can go up to March, some goes up to first February, but usually it doesn't go after March. I haven't
Yeah.
seen April,
It
but
does
it's
depend
usually,
on the areas, yeah. But
yeah, it's
most,
usually gonna be, early March down.
especially the top schools, is
Yeah, yeah.
December. Yeah.
Yeah, top schools are going to be in December.
Yeah.
So, because most of the time they get like lots and lots of applications, so they are not going to like have that much time. So yeah, there is no like it's never late in November. I don't think so. I mean, it depends on the school that you want to apply to, but for most schools, no.
Yeah.
Uh, can I use a post diploma?
Is
What's
can I
that?
use a pros to supplement my bachelor's degree? Yeah.
I mean, if you have a bachelor's degree, you don't even have to. You so most of the time, right? They ask you to put in
No, she
all
added
the.
that it is not directly aligned with the field I'm going for.
Yeah,
So
it doesn't matter. You always have to put in your all the schools that you have attended. Now, the reason why they let you do that is that they just want to see that you are not a quitter. Okay, they just want to see that you didn't start like a PhD. Maybe you didn't start another PhD somewhere. You just stopped. You know,
yeah,
that's what they want to see your records. Stuff like that. Like they just want to see that. It's just that. Just most. I tell you the most important thing for your graduate studies is your undergraduate studies.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So, Edora, you said you were not able to find professors. So, on the group chat, I'm going to post the screenshot and you can see it there. And any suggestions for PhD? You guys, we'll talk about this later. We'll talk about that. Like, we can, you will
So
take a lot of,
please, those who want to email the professors, I always tell you this: always email the program director. Okay, the program director for that particular program checks emails than the professor. Okay, it is good to email the program director than the professors because most professors are not going to respond.
yeah,
The program director, I can assure you they are going to respond.
that's your work.
Email the program director and then ask them, is there any professor that has funding? They are probably going to tell you those professors, okay? And then they are going, so please email the program directors. They are going to respond to you better than the professors.
Yeah. Thank you, Sir Edmund. Just like he's mentioned, I want to add to that it varies, okay? But go for email program directors, they would always give you insights. You can always also ask current students in the program, check the
Yeah, yeah,
website. They will also
yeah.
give you insights. Thank you to everybody that has joined today's live session. We are having a lot of upcoming sessions every week, back to back. I want to encourage each and every one of us. Do not give up. A lot of people are still getting funding. A lot of people are still getting admission. You see a lot of posters every day on LinkedIn, different groups that professors are looking for students. Okay, so that is a sign to show you that the application is going on. Schools are still opening their applications. Some are not opening, some are still opening. Okay, so shoot your shot. Okay, if you are yet to subscribe, I will say it again. Please subscribe to the channel and share it with people. Even if it might not benefit you, you might be helping somebody, and that way you're a blessing to someone one way or the other. Okay, thank you all. So our last question to Scholar Kofi for today. I would want you to like give our audience and including everybody watching us, me, I want you to leave us with a word of encouragement, like for those applying for this circle or like maybe grad school generally. Just leave us with a word of advice, like words of advice.
Okay. So I want to tell you one thing that I want to tell you is that if you are already considering applying for a school already, if you are even considering applying, you are a winner already. Okay.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that graduate in Africa from bachelors or whatever, and I can tell you it's probably less than 10% or 2% or whatever that are even going to think about applying to school. So if you have taken the first initiative to apply to a school and then you are here on this live trying to find out to learn more, you are already a winner.
Yeah.
Okay. So don't be, the application process is not going to be easy. It's going to be work. Okay. You have to put in the work. So don't be discouraged when they try it start hitting you back. You start an application, and then you find out, oh, they require GRE. You start an application, you require, oh, they require something that you don't have. Like, don't be discouraged. You send an email, you don't get a response, don't be discouraged. Okay, keep on keeping on, put in the effort. Always put in your maximum best, and if it doesn't work out, you know you did your best. Okay, and always, when you are submitting this application, always don't come out as desperate. Don't come out as desperate. Know that you are worth something. You graduated. Back in Africa, it's not really like a big deal when, like, but here in the US, like, when someone has a bachelor's, it's a big deal. Like, if you graduate, it's a big deal. Okay, so you are not trying to beg someone to, get you into their school or anything. You know that you are not saying, you're also bringing something to the table. At the end of the day, when you come here, you're either going to work as a researcher or as a teaching assistant. You're going to communicate to the department. So just make sure you are putting in your best foot. You are applying as you are being you, and write your application, your statement of purpose with confidence. You don't need to boast or anything, but put in your confidence, be confident, put in the application. Allow ample amount of time to put in your application. Look at your application probably every day. Write your application when you're feeling bad. Write your application when you're feeling good, and then you're gonna see that all that emotions is gonna be in your application. And when people read it, they are going to feel like you are human. If you write your application only when you are happy, you would miss a lot of mistakes because you are just happy, you are just writing. Okay, I realize that sometimes when you are not feeling good yourself, you're going to see a lot of mistakes in your application. So always give enough amount of time. You don't use one day to write statement of purpose. Okay, that is a bad practice. Probably you should use like a month or more to write your statement of purpose. Like one day, put in something, put in work, like, writing it, and you're gonna have like all, your emotions and stuff. Get someone who knows you to read through for you. These persons can, see things that you probably are not seeing, because, we are from Africa. Sometimes because, like, we have been put down so many times by our parents, by our peers. Most of us, we kind of have, like, we see ourselves a little bit lower than who we actually are.
Yeah.
So always, let another person have a look at your application, and they're going to tell you, oh no, I think you're better than what you are putting yourself out there to be. So always have another person also look at your application. And then that is what I can say. And pray about it. If you need to borrow money to put in an application, borrow the money, put in the application. When you get here, you can pay the person back. Most of us, we had to borrow money to come here, we pay the people back. Okay, so do what you have to do. Put in a lot of research. Don't apply to 20 schools with little effort. Put in a lot of effort. Narrow it down. Always narrow it down. When there is any school that you don't feel good about it, just leave it out. Okay, you don't feel good about it, just leave it out. You feel like this school is too generic. I don't really have a lot of things to write about this school. It's just like just another school. Leave it out. Just put in the schools that you feel like you can really relate to. You can really, there is this professor that you can say that, oh, this professor that I really like, that I cannot find this same professor anywhere, you
Mhm.
know, stuff like that. And you're gonna be good. Don't be discouraged, and you're gonna get into the university that you want to get into.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Kofi. We appreciate you. Thank you, Edmond. We really
yeah,
appreciate it. And I want to appreciate everybody that has joined. You've given us a lot of insight. I myself, you don't know that, like, I'm actually getting insights too from this session. One way or the other, I'm gingered. I have so much energy to push forward. I have a lot ahead. And yes, you've
yeah.
given so much inspiration. Thank
Olamide is doing so well. Like, she's doing really good because it's
you.
PhD is really hard on its own. For you to have a YouTube channel, that is really involves a lot of dedication and hard work. So
Thank
kudos to you, like doing really, really good job. And I really like what you're doing. You are helping a lot of people, and God bless you for that.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Okay. So yeah, I just want to announce that we have a lot of sections coming up. A research proposal, how to write a research proposal, how to get a potential supervisor, for those that need supervisor before their program, those that are in those fields. Then some graduate school applications essentials, bringing speakers, then future opportunities in AI. So many sections coming up. So I look forward to seeing you guys. Okay. Thank you to everybody that has joined. See you again. Thank you, Sir Kofi. I appreciate you. All
Thank you
right.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.